Alright, what's good everybody? Tea Leaves here coming at you with another video. I'm going to do a new Premier League power rankings after this last match weekend. Before we get into that, just another reminder, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, or if a friend who you know who likes the beautiful games not already, have them come through. Everyone's welcome. With that said, let's get into this video. So, Premier League power rankings this weekend. I'm going to generate new graphics for each weekend using Google Sheets. I've got the formulas built in, so this should be less of a hassle than it has been previous weeks. So let's get started. 20th, Sheffield United, garbage. 19, Burnley, garbage. 18, West Brom, garbage. I'm only hitting those three teams up real quick because they're all garbage. And after the simplistic view of this, for those of you who are fans of those teams I just mentioned, let's get into why. Sheffield United. No real attacking impetus whatsoever. Their midfield is basically Sander Berge. Their tactics have been found out, and their goalkeeper is a downgrade on Dean Henderson. Aaron Ramsdale sucks. 19, Burnley. No summer transfer window. Pretty much only signed a bang-average midfielder from Brighton, Dale Stephens, who's not even very good. I don't think he'll start for Burnley regularly. They didn't improve the team. They're also, again, all three of these teams at the bottom, it's really just they're lacking severely in one area. Not to say they're all lacking in the same area. It's just that Burnley and Sheffield have zero attacking impetus. They're both dead up top. And West Brom defensively are atrocious. Every time I see West Brom play, I think that they're going to concede 5 goals. Their back line just looks so disorganized. They can't hold a shape. They don't communicate effectively. It's just too easy. And, I mean, they look decent attacking-wise, unlike Burnley and Sheffield, but, you know, not particularly good from them. Now let's go into the relegation battlers, as I'd like to see it. Only one who's really improved was Fulham, who get out of the relegation zone in these power rankings. I think they are the biggest movers in the bottom half of my power rankings, but that's more on just the fact that they beat West Brom. They'll probably fall back down soon enough. One of the goals of the season from Ola Aina, but I still see this team going down because Scott Parker is a fraud. 16, Brighton. Play well against Spurs. Great goal from Lamptey, but they're not always able to keep it out of the other end. And granted, this is Spurs. You know, you got Kane, Son, and of course Bale got his first goal back for Spurs, so that's a hard task. But Brighton's defense needs to be sorted out. The back three's not working. And going forward, I need a bit more consistency from them if they want to improve on this position. They're not scoring at a bad rate for where they're at. And Graham Potter, the way he's got them playing the ball to the back, nice, beautiful passing, but they're not as ruthless as I'd like them to be. Okay. And, of course, Man United, we'll get into that in a second. I'm just going to skip to West Ham because Man United deserves its own little minute of just absolute hate. West Ham battled hard, lost against Liverpool, and this, of course, being a weakened Liverpool team, especially in defense. But, you know, they're really not good without Antonio, and I think it shows. You know, he's been coming up with the goods. He'd been coming up with the goods ever since the return from the lockdown. And West Ham do not look like the same proposition going forward as they did without him. And Sebastian Haller, I think he's been proven to be a flop. He needs to go back to Germany or the Netherlands where he scored for fun. But the rest of the team's actually looking pretty solid, even without Grady Diangana these days. So I like what I'm seeing from Moyes. He's resurrected his career. Good for him, although we could do with less of him threatening to slap female reporters. That we could do without. Okay. And then, of course, Man United in 15th. What else is there to say about this team? Ollie is at the wheel. Ollie's going to drive him off a cliff at this rate. And United fans might be like, but you're overreacting to one game. You lost at home to a rebuilding Arsenal side who have no attacking impetus right now for some weird reason. You lost at home to Arsenal, a team that hadn't won away at the quote unquote Big Six since 2015. This is an Arsenal team that put Bruno Fernandes in their pocket. Mohamed El-Neni, a virtual scrub for Arsenal for all this time, helped put Bruno in his pocket. Thomas Partey bossing the midfield. And Arsenal defensively are starting to look really good, and United had nothing going forward. I mean, I think we need to see more of Cavani, just to try it out. I mean, it's no knock against either one of Rashford, Martial, or Greenwood. I just want to see Cavani get in the mix, see what he has to offer. I think teams have found out how those three play up top, and it needs to change a bit. And then, of course, I will say this: United defensively, get rid of Maguire, get rid of Lindelof, pretty much overhaul the entire back line except for Telles and Wan-Bissaka. That all needs to change. They just do not know how to buy a good defender. Yet Leicester seem to buy good center back after center back. Makes me wonder what Ed Woodward is smoking up there, you know? Makes me wonder. And it probably makes United fans wonder too. Because this is not the United team we saw under Sir Alex Ferguson. Let me assure you, Sir Alex will be getting the best out of... he got the best out of Alex Butner, who only played in that last season Fergie played. And we have Ole struggling to get the best out of Luke Shaw, who was the most expensive teenager for a while, and of course struggling to get the best out of Harry Maguire, who they bought for 80 mil, struggling to get the best out of Victor Lindelof, who was bossing it at Benfica, and even looking good under Mourinho, and just disappointing from United, and they stay in 15th until they get their act together. All right, moving into more like the mid-table pack, Newcastle and Arsenal both moving up in this area, and I've got to say, Newcastle, good performance against Everton. Granted, this is a weakened Everton, but nonetheless, not many favor him. I certainly didn't, and Newcastle proved me wrong. Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser, that Bournemouth duo, linking back up again, and that might be what keeps Newcastle up. They're not that good outside of those two, and of course, Alan St. Maximin. But we'll see what happens. Also, still don't respect Ryan Fraser for what he did to Bournemouth at the end of last season. Just another reminder. And of course, they still don't have Dubravka. They still had Carl Darlow in that. He's been playing well. It makes you wonder if they'll have a similar situation that Arsenal did last season. Of course, Arsenal, they got rid of Martinez to keep Leno. I don't think Newcastle are going to get rid of Dubravka anytime soon. He's a very good goalkeeper. So, see what happens. Speaking of Arsenal, they're also the big movers. They move up to 9th. And this, of course, being after the aforementioned win over Man United. They weren't very good going forward. Defensively, in the midfield, though, they were excellent. Now, this is Thomas Partey to a T. Good at passing the ball, and he'll make sure no one really gets past him. He'll mark the best players out of the games. He'll be usually the attacking mids or mids who are looking to get forward more, maybe a Regista or something like that. I don't know, but he'll mark him out of the game. Him and El-Neni, good partnership in there for this game. Defensively, Gabriel, what a player. Great signing by Arsenal. They got the right Gabriel this time after the previous Gabriel turned out to be a big flop. And, of course, Aubameyang ending that Premier League goal drought, needed that. They're going to need more from him going forward, and they're going to need more from that front line going forward. I don't want to see Pepe ever play for Arsenal again, by the way. He's basically the new age Jorginho. Okay, and looking at those who fell down a bit, Crystal Palace, terrible performance against Wolves, couldn't defend against a debutant in the Premier League, that is, on the left wing back, and of course they could not defend against someone who got absolutely destroyed by Alphonso Davies just 3 months ago on the right wing back spot, and devoid of any ideas going forward. Roy Hodgson, for all his defensive prowess, got this one terribly wrong, and didn't really have the spark going forward as well, so they'll need to fix that as soon as possible. Aston Villa looking terrible defensively against Southampton. They're in 11th, and I gotta say, Dean Smith, overrated coach. I've been saying it all this time. He does not know how to adjust tactically when he's been found out. And Ralph Hasenhüttl took them to the woodshed and counter-attacked the living Jesus out of them because, my goodness, James Ward-Prowse, what a player, too. 2 free kicks, my goodness. There's that as well, of course, but, I mean, Southampton going forward looking too dangerous, and that Villa defense, I think, especially in the fullback areas, they need to get rid of Matt Target. That's the area that concerns me the most about that team. I think they need a better midfield partner with McGinn. I don't think Douglas Luiz is as sound defensively for McGinn's propensity to go forward effectively. Douglas Luiz probably better to play actually the role that McGinn plays in that midfield. And then Trezeguet on the right, a little too inconsistent for me, but still, I think he's still good enough to start for them. But yeah, Villa, not looking good for them after the strong start they had. Leeds going down 5 here, terrible going forward. And that plays right into Leicester's hands because Leeds' inability to actually get good chances inside the opponent's box led to them losing the ball, Leicester being able to pass their way to the back and quickly counter because that's what Brendan Rodgers does nowadays. He has more than one way to approach a game. And because of that, Brendan Rodgers is one of the best managers in the Premier League, one of the most underrated managers in the world. Great manager. And Leicester, they still have Soyuncu. They played Fofana in there, who looks really good. United, learn from this team how to buy central defenders next time you're looking for one. Because they seem to actually know how to buy a good one. And let me tell you, Cengiz Under, what a loan signing. Leicester City signing Cengiz Under on loan. He's an inconsistent player, or at least he was in Roma, but he's looking great. Feeding Vardy at every turn. I mean, Leeds couldn't stop it. I mean, I'm going on about Leicester a little too long. I'll get to them later, but Leeds, defensively, shambles. Midfield, shambles. Just everything was shambles. They weren't able to attack well. Because of that, they let themselves get put under a lot of pressure against a Leicester team who didn't need much of the ball to put them under that pressure. So Marcelo Bielsa will have a lot of work to do coming up. And then Everton falling 7 places, losing to Newcastle, even at St. James's Park. No fans there even, so it's not even like it's an intimidating atmosphere. You lose 2-1 to Newcastle, and I think your title ambitions are going to be criticized at that point if you're losing to them that early in the season. Now, of course, there's plenty of time for Ancelotti to turn this around. They'll get Richarlison and Digne back pretty soon, but they did not look good going forward. We'll see what happens, but I'm a little bit nervous for Everton at this point if they really want to challenge for one of those European places. Ancelotti, I'm sure he's going to have a plan, though. All right, now into the top 7. So Southampton, after that big win over Aston Villa, I mean, I already waxed lyrical over James Ward-Prowse, but let's do it again. James Ward-Prowse, what a performance by him. Southampton just absolutely counterattacking Aston Villa, looking dangerous whenever they're going forward. Danny Ings with a beautiful curling effort. They did look suspect defensively in the last half hour of the game, but I gotta say, Southampton looking like one of the surprise packages again this season. They're looking like that team that was really fun to watch back when Pochettino and a little bit under Koeman. I gotta say, I've been impressed by them. And Ralph Hasenhüttl, I'm not sure how he managed to only go to Southampton. I think he's a manager who, with all respect to Southampton, I think he's too big of a manager for a club of that size. So all the kudos to him, but he's getting the job done. Chelsea 6. Again, another big winner. I think that, in fact, they are the biggest movers on this list in the positive direction after a 3-0 destruction of Burnley. Ziyech getting his first Premier League goal. Werner playing outstanding. Havertz outstanding. They looked like a team for the first time this season. And I mean a team not insofar as selfishness, but a team insofar as they looked like they were set. They looked like they were settled. They looked like they knew what they were going to do. They had an identity. They had a plan, and they executed perfectly. Attacking-wise, this Chelsea team is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be throwback to Ancelotti's Chelsea. And when Frank Lampard was honestly at his personal best, in my opinion. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what this Chelsea team will do. Also, hopefully with Pulisic staying healthy and not getting injured again. That'd be nice, especially as an American going forward. I'd like to not see Pulisic get randomly injured before games in the future. That'd be nice. Just saying. Alrighty, and 5 we have Wolves, comprehensive 2-0 victory over Palace. They're looking really good again after that blip against Newcastle. Ryan Nuri, sorry if I've pronounced that name wrong, but what a goal for his debut from left wing back. Nelson Semedo actually looked like the player that Barcelona wanted to buy. Now, for the first time this season, he looks like he's rediscovered himself. He looks like he's gotten over that Alphonso Davies nightmare, and he could resurrect his career with all his Portuguese comrades. And those two really drove Wolves forward, kept Crystal Palace at bay. I mean, complete performance from them. And of course, I think I disrespected Lord Daniel Podence. I'll never do that again on this channel. My apologies to you. Alright, and now let's get into the top 4 real quick. Man City move up a couple spots. Not a great performance against Sheffield, but they needed a 1-0 win. Missing Aguero, of course, still with a bit of an injury. I think he'll be back after the international break. Kyle Walker, though, scoring against his hometown team. Big up for him. And City looking to go back in the right direction. I don't think it'll last too long. Tottenham 2-1 win over Brighton. Gareth Bale, good to see him scoring again in the Premier League. Tottenham getting the job done. They don't need much of the ball these days to do it. Under Mourinho, he'll just make sure that they get the most out of it, and they're looking stronger. I wasn't able to see much of this game, but just from what I've seen in the games at Tottenham I've seen this season, they're looking like, the second season he had under United. Now, whether that will lead to a title or not this season, I don't know. But they're looking like a team that is really going to press for a title and look to take the league by storm. And it's good to see Mourinho having fun again. I like this kind of Mourinho. I like the Mourinho who, we can all laugh at, or with rather, not then at. And of course, a Mourinho who brings the positive side out of his players rather than the negative. So, happy to see that. Second, Leicester City. Again, Brendan Rodgers masterclass. They know Leeds are going to have a lot of the ball. They counter, sit back instead with a lower block, and just absolutely torch them on the counter. Leeds couldn't get anything going forward, and that led to Leicester winning the ball back closer to their end of the pitch, but them being able to move so quickly out of their own half and causing Leeds all sorts of trouble on the counter was a joy to watch. That penalty for me towards the end was not a penalty that Tielemans took, but again, Cengiz Under, great loan signing, Fofana looking great as well. This Leicester team are going to be fun to watch, and I'd like to see Brendan Rodgers win a Premier League trophy. I'd love to see it after he came so close with Liverpool before. I like how Brendan Rodgers' teams play, and, in general, I like the manager. I think he gets meaned a little too much, disrespected too much. I'd like to see, if he can actually get over the line this season. It'd be another nice story, and it'd be nice to see Leicester win the Premier League again, just from a neutral perspective. And, of course, number 1, Liverpool go back up top after I think they found their real Firmino replacement, since Firmino has been pretty abject recently. He's not looked good in front of goals. Jota basically offers the same thing. He will track back, he'll do the dirty work, but he is much more clinical than Firmino. I like it. It's a boost to Liverpool's attack. Their attack looks even better than it already did, and that's saying something because their attack was one of the best in the world before they got Jota, and now it's even better. The defense still is suspect for me. We'll see how Man City are able to react, how they're able to take out this defense, because Liverpool's defense against the likes of Sterling, Torres, Foden, we'll see what happens. But Liverpool, for now, they're going to take top spot. And just my general thoughts on them, it'd be interesting to see if they can repeat. Interesting to see if there will be a closer title race just because of Virgil van Dijk. And we'll see really how much Virgil van Dijk has boosted this team. We'll see if he was the true difference maker in that team versus solely Klopp's coaching. Now, I'm not going to knock Jurgen Klopp because he's one of the best he is the best manager in the world. But it's, sort of like the Belichick-Brady thing in American football. Those of you who want to use that analogy. It's like, is one better without the other? Well, we're going to see that here to an extent, because Virgil van Dijk is a leader on that team, one of the best defenders, if not the best defender in the world on his day, even though he's been making a lot of errors towards the end of last season, start of this season. We'll see how Liverpool react. But I'm looking forward to another exciting week of Champions League football. I caught the end of the Atalanta-Liverpool game in which Liverpool absolutely destroyed Atalanta. And I watched some of the Salzburg game before Bayern put that to bed. Yeah, this season's offering up some interesting scenarios. Everything's pretty wide open, and I'll maybe do a Champions League review this week as well. Again, comment below if you have any other ideas, because I'm all ears. I'm all ears, There's so much going on this season, so much to be excited about in the face of everything that's going on in the world right now. So, let me know what you want. And, of course, like and subscribe for more content. Tea leaves. Peace out.